Hello and blessings, beautiful souls. Avalon here, and welcome to your very first Coven chat. So what I would like to do in this very first Coven chat is to assist you to understand what it is that you may need to action at this moment in time to better integrate into Coven life. Now, before I begin on all of that, I just want to say to you that yes, I do have a self-initiation style ritual in the works for you. However, I'm of the belief that initiation should only take place twice a year, and that is at the time of Samhain and the time of Beltane. And we have one of those amazing cross quarters fast approaching. We're in September now. Beltane will take place at the end of October, the start of November, as will Samhain. They sit at opposite ends on the Wheel of Eight, and that is a time where the veil thins and self-initiation is an incredible experience. So I want to be able to offer you that incredible experience in your own way by giving you certain tools to better integrate into that experience. But that is for another time. So that is in the works. We still have a little time to go until we have to get to that particular practice. But what I wanted you to do now is to first and foremost prepare. And you can begin your preparation for Coven life by really zhuzhing your home, your environment, your space in which you live in. So removing from that space anything that no longer serves, like doing a really good spring clean, really mixing up the energy and the enthusiasm in the space, rearranging furniture so that it better feels, more flow throughout your home, and really just try and relinquish what no longer serves you. And this can also be something that you do with your body, is giving up certain vices that are not serving your best interest, and just a bit of metaphysical maintenance. It can also extend out into emotional spheres, where you may want to disconnect from specific friendships that you may have been thinking about this, and it's just occupying too much of your mind space. And it's really about just giving yourself a really intense overhaul. So zhuzhing the house, zhuzhing the body, and zhuzhing the emotional spectrum, the social circles and things of that nature. And it doesn't have to be anything drastic. It's more about just housekeeping. That's it. That's all it is. It's just metaphysical maintenance. It's just housekeeping for the witch, and making sure that we're on top of these things, that we're not being buried by clutter or dust or mess or filth within our home, particularly if you are practicing within your home. That's super important. You want the energy in your home to be solid, to be resolute. When somebody walks through the threshold of your home, they need to be able to feel that they are in the presence of somewhere majestic and mystical and incredible. And attaining that kind of vibration within the home space is actually a little bit time consuming. So preparation, early preparation, is really important, especially if you are going to be conducting your self-initiation ritual indoors. Now, many will be, because it will be a chilly time still. Some will not, because it will be perfectly warm, depends on where you are. But try and make sure that your home space is super tidy. Another thing that I would like to talk to you about is assign your surface early. Having surfaces to establish altars upon is important. So know exactly what surface you're going to be working with, and start, zhuzhing that surface as much as possible. This is one of my primary altars. This is another altar. Shelving I use as altars as well. It just needs to be a place where you have a flat surface that is non-flammable, that is not going to get easily disturbed, and making sure that you know exactly where that is going to be positioned and what kind of space you have to work with. So I've had massive dining table style altars. I've had small coffee table style altars. That's a piece of raw wood as one of my altars. That's just a slab of wood on legs as another one of my altars. It goes out a little bit. They're all different shapes and sizes, and it doesn't have to be anything specific. It just has to be a surface that you can dedicate to specific types of workings, right? So you have your house zhuzhed. You know what to do emotionally and metaphysically as part of your metaphysical maintenance, and you have assigned yourself a nice surface in which to work upon. Now, push all of that to one side, and I want to get down to the nitty-gritty of journals, right? So throughout the course of our our time in a coven, what we are going to be doing is a lot of note taking, a lot of study, a lot of understanding particular practices. The coven structure will be more bardic, so there'll be a lot of storytelling, a lot of narratives shared openly, one through to the other, and it's important to be able to take notes. So give yourself a really great notebook in which to take notes. This is the Leuchtturm. 19 something. That was my old coven. What's the majiggy? This is the Leuchtturm 1917, right? And this is an A5 journal, which I really love. And this is one of my old coven journals, and I love it. I had it embossed, and it's beautiful. The paper is absolutely beautiful. I'm dedicated to this. This is my pen that I use with this particular journal. This is an ultra fine. This is a Pilot G-Tech C 0.4. Yes, 0.4. So these two babies, they live together, and I encourage you to get yourself a really good journal, an all-purpose journal. Even a spiral-bound notebook would be really ideal. And if you're the type of person that wants to create yourself a beautiful grimoire of sorts, then perhaps getting a spiral-bound notebook is going to be beneficial to you, because you can take your scribbles down and then transfer them into your very lovely journal at a more suited time. So, with your journal and your pen sorted, a dedicated coven journal, I might add, with that sorted, let's move on to one of my favorite coven treats, and that is your coven crystal. Now, this is my coven crystal. I'm going to move in to show you my coven crystal. This is my coven crystal here. Now, this baby has been through initiations galore, both of myself and of others. And it's an anhydro quartz. It has a bridge. It's got a point that I can use to carve sigils into candles, and on. Like, it's a very practical stone, but it's with me at all times. I can hold it in the palm of my hand. I can slip it into my pocket. It's with me in meditation. It's with me in ritual. It's with me in sacred space. Wherever I go that I'm going to do something ultra magical, then I'm going to take my coven crystal so that it can be a part of that magical experience. And that is something that I would like for you to obtain also. It's going to be your best friend, your confidant. And a good coven crystal is by nature a clear quartz. It's something that is piezoelectric. It's something that can conduct or generate energy, and it is something that you can utilize in a very practical sense as well as a metaphysical sense. Now, I would not particularly recommend using anything that you already have in store, because it's something that you have had in your, in your crystal boxes and your crystal drawers and things like that for an extended period of time. If you do want to use those, you're going to need to prepare that stone effectively, and that is sit it in salt and let it sit there for ages. Wash it, really cleanse all the old experience from it, and begin again. So for me, I went out and I had oodles and oodles of clear quartz, and yet I specifically went out and I found myself the coven crystal. As I'm out there, I'm thinking coven crystal, coven crystal, coven crystal. What's going to be suitable? And I found this one. Now, yes, I had lots and lots of stones at my disposal, but none of them, it just didn't feel right using something that I had in my stash already. I wanted something that was acquired with that specific purpose, with that specific intention. Something that it became like an adventure or like a journey of sorts to find this stone. It took me a couple of weeks to find it, and I went everywhere local that I could think, and eventually I found it. And it's beautiful, and it's an anhydro quartz, which means it's got an ancient droplet of water in there. Water is the conduit to the divine. I was stoked to have it. So your coven crystal should by rights be something that is a clear quartz, has some points on it, and a few unusual inclusions, and that is something that is up to you to find for yourself. So acquiring your coven crystal is perhaps your very first and most fun step into entering a coven environment. So that is it for this particular Coven chat. There are a few other bits and bobs that I will be mentioning in each of these Coven chats that are important to consider, and so far this is probably the most preliminary one. So making sure that your house is zhuzhed, you've done yourself a good spring clean, you know what you're doing with your body, you're disconnecting from things that no longer serve so you can start afresh, you've got yourself a surface or the idea of a surface planned out in your mind, you've got yourself a journal and a good pen, and by God, if you find an excellent pen, buy a couple of them because there's lots of writing to be done. And then you have your Coven crystal, and there you have it, folks. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to ask. And I will be making sure that I create a beautiful Facebook page for us to interact with in a Coven capacity. And any questions that you might have, you can put them there, or you can leave them here in Patreon, privately message me, it doesn't matter. I will get them no matter which way you go about it. And also, I just wanted to mention as well that this is freaking exciting. It's freaking exciting. And I have a little treasure for you, because one of the Coven books that we are going to be dissecting as part of extracurricular reading for Coven is Starships. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but the author of Starships, which is a Scarlet imprint book, his name is Gordon White. And Gordon is my neighbor and friend. Like, I'm not talking about just he's my neighbor, but like he's actually my neighbor. We live in the same tiny town together. And it's ridiculous. And so we've been popping in on each other's spaces, but I'm going to get Gordon in here to talk Starships with you and to see if you don't love the idea of this book so much, because it is a history of the spirits. And I think that that would be a fantastic, fantastic addition to Coven reading. Will it be our first book? I don't know yet, but I am going to get Gordon on here whenever we do decide to move on to Starships and dissect that book and hear the author's perspective, because how rare is it to be able to hear the author's perspective on something, especially an author that is so well known, right? So with all of that said and done, wishing you so much love, luck, peace, and joy. Good luck zhuzhing your spaces. Good luck getting ready for Coven life. Good luck finding the exact right crystal for you. And again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Mwah! Bye!